Crystal Everdeen, and today I want to share with you how I crocheted this Mickey Ghost bucket hat that I made a few years ago. Now, normally I make a tutorial or a video on pretty much every single crochet project I ever make, but for this one I didn't, and I have no idea why. But that being said, I still, of course, wanted to share with you how you could recreate your own. However, I do not have any actual clips of me making this, so I kind of Frankensteined this video together to still show you how you could recreate your own. So it's not necessarily like footage of me making this particular hat, but still like going through the steps of making the hat. So as long as you follow along, you should definitely be able to recreate your own. So let's go ahead and get started. For this project, I use size 4 100% acrylic yarn as well as a size 5mm hook, but of course you can use whatever size and type of yarn that you would like. And the first step is to make a slip knot and chain 3. Now if you are a complete beginner to crochet, I would suggest that you first watch my Crocheting for Beginners video that will be also linked in the description box down below. Practice with that and then come back to this video, or watch my beginner friendly video on how to crochet a bucket hat, which is literally the exact same thing but slower and more beginner friendly. But anyway, after you chain 3, go into the first chain that you created with a single crochet. You will be left with a little like cluster that looks like this. Find the center of that cluster and single crochet into it. Then make 4 more single crochets into that same stitch, totaling to 5 single crochets into that center stitch of the cluster. After you've completed your 5 single crochets, finish off the first row by slip stitching into the first single crochet that you made. Now we need to build on top of this little circle by making more rows of single crochet. And in order to make sure that it gets bigger and bigger every time we add a row, we need to increase. And we are going to do that by alternating between making 1 single crochet in a stitch and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, then 1 single crochet in the stitch after that, then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, then 1 single crochet, and so on and so forth for many rows, as many rows as you need in order for this portion of the project to be the size of the top of your head. So just continue with that alternating pattern of 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochets, then 1 single crochet, and so on until your project looks something like this. And after your project is the same size as the top of your head, make 1 row of single crochet that goes into the back loop only. And what I mean by that is normally when we make a single crochet, we go through both of these little loops at the top that form the V. However, for this row, we're only going to go through the back loop of that V. So don't go through both of them, go through the back loop only for 1 row, just 1 row. After you've completed your 1 row of single crochet going into the back loop only, then continue to make single crochets as normal. The purpose of that 1 row of single crochet where you go into the back loop only is to redirect the project downward so that we can get to work on the portion of the hat that covers your forehead. So now that the project is redirected, again with that 1 row of going into the back loop only, we can continue just making normal rows of single crochet from here. Just go around and around and around making rows and rows of single crochet, 1 single crochet per stitch until the project is long enough to cover your forehead or whatever length that you want. For me, I made 15 rows for this section of the project. After you are happy with the length, it's time to work on the brim. For the brim, we will need to redirect the yarn again, but this time we're going to make 1 row of single crochet going into the front loop only. So go ahead and make 1 row of single crochet going into the front loop only. So same thing as we did before, but this time front loop. After you completed that 1 row, go back to making single crochets like normal. To make a ruffled brim like mine, you will need to alternate again. So 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochets, then 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochets, and so on until you're happy with the size of your brim. However, if you do not want your brim to be ruffled, then do not increase and just make 1 single crochet per stitch. But yeah, once you have crocheted enough rows and you're happy with the size of your brim, then you are done with the hat portion of the project. So now that you've completed making the bucket hat portion of the Ghost Mickey bucket hat, we are going to now add on the details to make it more Mickey. And the first thing we're going to do is make the ears. Now, in order to make the ears, you essentially just need to repeat the very first step that we did for the bucket hat, which is make the circle portion of the bucket hat. But of course, you're going to be making it way smaller. So grab grab your black yarn this time and follow the exact same steps as we did in the beginning of the bucket hat tutorial to make this round project, but only make about like 8 to 10 rows so that it's a nice, relatively good size for Mickey ears. And in total you're going to be making 4 of them, 2 for each ear, and I decided to make 2 for each, that way it's a little bit more sturdy and actually stays upright, because if it's just 1 circle per ear it seems to be like too floppy, so that's why I made 2 circles per ear, and then I slip stitched them together to just make 1 circular project. And then for the eyes, I kind of again did the same thing. I started off the project as if I was going to make a circle project by chaining 3, then going into the very first chain with a single crochet, and then making single crochets inside of the middle of the cluster to make it a round project. However, this time I want it to be more of an oval shape as opposed to perfectly round. So in order to make it oval shaped, I need to pick 2 points of the circle that are going to be longer than the rest of the project. And once I pick those points, I'm going to make a half double crochet in each. So I'm going to pick 1 point, and then I'm going to make a half double crochet inside of that 1 stitch. And then I'm just going to make, single crochets until I get to the opposite side of that point. And once I do, I'm going to make another half double crochet, just so that it's a little bit taller than the single crochets that we've been making for the rest of the project, or the rest of this little circle, and that's what will make it more of an oval shape as opposed to perfectly round, because of those taller stitches on either side. So now it's more of an oval, and you don't really have to make that many rows for the eyes because they're so small. I think I made like 2 rows total, and I was able to make it an oval shape as opposed to a round shape by simply adding those 2 slightly larger stitches on each side. So now it's an oval, and I went ahead and made 2 of those, 1 for each eye, and then I did the exact same thing for the nose, but I made it a little bit bigger just because I wanted it to look a little bit different than the eyes. So once you've made the ears, the eyes, and the nose, now you can attach everything together. And to attach everything together, you could either use a needle and thread, or you can use your yarn and hook. For the ears, I actually used my yarn and hook, and I simply just slip stitched them together. So obviously the ears on my project are already attached, but if you are making yours, you will need to hold your ear exactly to where you want to attach it to, like the area where you want it to be attached to, and then you're going to grab your hook and make sure that you go through both the bucket hat and the ear, wherever you want it to be attached to, then grab your yarn and slip stitch it. So you kind of have to just hold the ear in place the whole time so it doesn't attach itself like in a weird wonky way. So it is a little bit difficult for a beginner, but obviously if you are an experienced crocheter, you know exactly what you need to do here. So just slip stitch those ears together onto the bucket hat exactly where you want it to be attached to, and then do the exact same thing with the eyes and the nose. However, for me, I decided to use a needle and thread, and it's essentially the same process as slip stitching the project together with a hook and yarn, but just way smaller. Since the ears are bigger than the eyes and the nose, I went ahead and used a needle and thread as opposed to the yarn, just because I didn't want like those big stitches kind of showing, and it also didn't really need as much support as the ears did. Now for the little wrinkle on top of the nose, all I did was essentially just cut a piece of yarn. Right now for this example, the yarn is still attached to the yarn ball, but just pretend that it's just one string of yarn, and this is exactly what I did. I just made it so that the yarn stretches across the nose like this, and then I attached the ends of the yarn, the piece of yarn, with knots at the end of each side of the nose, and that's how I made that little detail right here. And after you have completed all those steps, you have made your very own Mickey Ghost Bucket Hat. Yay! I hope you enjoyed this video and it was helpful. If you enjoy crochet related videos, tutorials, ranging from beginner friendly to more advanced to crochet with me, style my crochet, and so much more, please go ahead and check out the rest of my channel. And follow me on Instagram and TikTok, both are at Krystal Everdeen. I would love to see you there, and I'm a huge Disney fan, so if you are a huge Disney fan as well, you're definitely going to have a great time. Thank you so much again for watching. If you found this video either interesting, entertaining, or helpful, please get a big thumbs up before you go, and don't forget to click that red subscribe button if you have not already, so I can see you next time. Bye, and have a magical day.